Put your head on my shoulder.
Paul Anka is a legendary personality in the music industry with a career spanning more than 70 years. His name is synonymous with timeless music and classic pop. From his early days as an adolescent idol to his later years as a well-known songwriter and performer, Anka's musical career has been full of successes, setbacks, and an enduring commitment to his work. And Paul Anka has come clean about the tragic reality at the age of 83. What specifically did he reveal? We'll be exposing that in a moment, but first let's take a closer look at Paul Anka. Early life and origins. Paul Albert Anka was born into a loving and culturally diverse Lebanese family in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada, on July 30th, 1941. Paul's early life was greatly influenced by his Lebanese parents, Andrew Emile, Andy Anka, and Camelia Tanis Anka in particular. In the center of Ottawa, Andy Anka owned a well-known eatery named the Lacanda, which served as a community hub, in addition to being a place of commerce. In contrast, Camelia was a homemaker who made sure that the Anka home was warm, loving, and infused with a strong sense of cultural identity. With a younger brother and sister, Paul Anka was the oldest of 3 children. Being up in a close-knit family, Paul was greatly impacted by the morals of his parents, as well as the diverse range of Lebanese customs that permeated their daily existence. Paul's development was greatly influenced by the music, food, and storytelling that were all prevalent in the Anka home. Paul showed an innate talent for music from a very young age. Early on, his parents saw his potential and supported him in following his passion. Paul was first exposed to music in a formal setting through the family's close affiliation with the St. Elijah Syrian Orthodox Church in Ottawa. He started singing in the church choir when he was 11 years old, which helped him hone his vocal abilities and build his stage presence. For the Anka family, the church served as more than just a place of worship. It was a center of the community where social and cultural bonds were forged, and Paul's involvement in the choir played a big role in his early years. Paul's musical preferences were also greatly influenced by the multicultural setting in which he was raised. Because Ottawa was a cultural melting pot in the 1940s and 1950s, Paul was exposed to a variety of musical influences at a young age. Paul would regularly be spotted paying close attention to the live performances of musicians and performers that frequently performed at his father's restaurant. Paul was able to cultivate a distinct musical taste that would eventually define his career because to this exposure to a variety of musical genres, including modern Western pop and traditional Middle Eastern tunes, Paul was not only a gifted vocalist but also a self-taught musician. He trained himself to play the guitar and piano since he was naturally curious and determined to learn how to play an instrument. When he started experimenting with songs in his adolescent years, these abilities would come in quite handy. Popular music of the era, like as Frank Sinatra's sultry tones, Nat King Cole's crooning, and Patti Page's timeless songs, had an impact on Paul's early compositions. The love ballads and melodic structures that became defining features of Paul's work are influenced by these musicians, who were among his first musical heroes. Paul was well known for his love of music and his captivating personality while he was a teenager at Ottawa's Fisher Park High School. Paul excelled academically, but his love of music frequently overshadowed his studies. Together with a few of his pals, he founded a vocal group named the Bobby Soxers, which gave performances at school gatherings and neighborhood events. Paul's ambition to become a musician was stoked by these early appearances, which offered him a taste of the limelight. Paul had a strong desire to be successful in the music business from an early age. He was driven, ambitious, and prepared to take chances in order to succeed. Paul took a risk at the age of 14 that would alter the trajectory of his life. He persuaded his parents to allow him to see his uncle, Maurice Tanis, a well-known personality in the entertainment business, in Los Angeles in 1956. Paul's road to become a professional musician began with this trip, which would turn out to be a turning point in his life. Paul took advantage of every chance to become fully involved in the music scene while he was in Los Angeles. He was committed to networking and gaining as much knowledge as he could about the field. Paul met with music executives, went to radio stations, and participated in recording sessions while he was there. His perseverance paid off when he was able to set up a meeting with ABC Paramount Records arranger and A&R man Don Costa. Paul's talent impressed Costa, who recognized the young artist's potential. Costa made the decision to bring Paul to the label after listening to some of his original tunes. Blauweil Deverest Fontaine, Paul's debut single, was released in 1956 but did not succeed in the chart. Paul was not discouraged by this first failure. Knowing that his big break was imminent, he kept writing songs and honing his skills. When Paul wrote a song in 1957 that would forever alter his life, that break came. Paul wrote the song Diana because he had an unrequited crush on a girl 5 years older than him named Diana Ayoub. The song's catchy tune and poignant lyrics struck a chord with listeners, capturing the passion of youthful infatuation. Diana was an immediate hit when it was released as a single, selling over 10 million copies worldwide and peaking at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100. Paul Anka became a teenage star after Diana's triumph thrust him into the public eye. Paul Anka has made his debut on the global music scene with Diana. He was thrown into the spotlight at the age of 16 and rose to prominence as one of the most well-liked young performers of the late 1950s. Diana's triumph signaled the start of an incredible career that would see Paul Anka transform from an adolescent idol into one of the most admired and enduring personalities in the music business. Early music career. Paul Anka's early music career is a remarkable story of his determination to achieve adolescent ambition and undeveloped talent that made him stand out from his classmates. Anka immediately established himself as one of the top adolescent idols of the time following the success of his breakthrough single, Diana, in 1957. At the age of 16, he launched a successful and long-lasting career when his smooth voice, attractive appearance, and accessible songs resonated with listeners all over the world. Anka quickly took advantage of his newfound fame after Diana. He went on to release a string of singles that showcased both his increasing skill as a lyricist and his consistency as a performer. Songs like You Are My Destiny, Lonely Boy, Puppy Love, and Put Your Head on My Shoulder became hits for a generation of youngsters who were figuring out the intricacies of life and love. These songs all demonstrated Anka's genuine ability to appeal to universal emotions, which struck a deep chord with his listeners. Released soon after Diana, You Are My Destiny became another big hit for Anka and made it to the top 10 in a number of countries. Anka's status as a pop ballad maestro was further cemented by the song's exquisite arrangement and poignant lyrics. Released in 1959, Lonely Boy became one of his hallmark songs and his next big hit. It was his first #1 single on the Billboard Hot 100, and its popularity demonstrated Anka's growing comprehension of the mainstream music industry. Teenagers who had adopted Anka as their own were the ideal audience for the song's themes of adolescent loneliness and longing. Another 1959 hit, Put Your Head on My Shoulder, solidified Anka's reputation as a teenage idol. With its heartfelt lyrics and calming tune, the song became a classic slow dance number that was played at school dances and proms all over North America. It demonstrated Anka's ability to write songs that were both commercially successful and emotionally impactful, a combination that would later become a defining characteristic of his career. In 1960, Anka recorded Puppy Love, one of her most enduring early hits. The song, which was written about his relationship with actress Annette Funicello, encapsulated the naive and frequently passionate feelings of adolescent love. Puppy Love quickly gained popularity, especially among young listeners who recognized Anka's lyrics as reflecting their own experiences. The popularity of the song also demonstrated Anka's developing self-assurance as a songwriter who could express difficult feelings in straightforward, approachable language. Anka was establishing himself as a well-known lyricist for other musicians in addition to his solo career. He penned It Doesn't Matter Anymore for Buddy Holly in 1959, and after Holly's untimely death in a plane crash, it became a posthumous smash. This song significantly increased Anka's popularity in the music industry by showcasing his adaptability and ability to create for a variety of voices and styles. Anka's unwavering work ethic was a defining feature of her early music career. He was recording, performing, and promoting his music all the time. Anka frequently performed many gigs a day during this hectic time, and he traveled widely to reach his quickly expanding fan base. Anka never wavered in his dedication to his profession, always crafting new songs and honing his performances in spite of the demanding schedule. Anka's ability to adjust to the demands of the music industry and his deep awareness of it were two factors that contributed to his success at this time. He wasn't satisfied with only his charisma and excellent appearance. He put a lot of effort into honing his abilities as a lyricist and singer. Anka actively participated in the creation of his songs, frequently working closely with producers and arrangers to make sure they had the intended effect. Paul Anka had solidified his position as one of the major pop music stars by the early 1960s. It Doesn't Matter Anymore is a moving illustration of Anka's talent for creating songs that are timeless and emotionally impactful no matter who sings them. My Way, one of Anka's most well-known songs, was written in 1969, marking a new chapter in his career. Comme d'habitude was a French song at first, but Anka bought the rights and adapted English lyrics especially for Frank Sinatra. My Way, Anka's rendition, went beyond a simple translation. It was a total reworking that mirrored Sinatra's reflective and confident demeanor. The song, which encapsulated Sinatra's career and beliefs, instantly became a classic. Numerous musicians such as Elvis Presley, Aretha Franklin, and Sid Vicious have covered the song My Way, which is today regarded as one of the most enduring tunes in the history of popular music. My Way's popularity not only solidified Anka's place among the most significant songwriters' generation, but it also showed that he could compose music for a variety of voices. The song was a fantastic fit for Sinatra because of its structure, lyrical depth, and emotional resonance, demonstrating Anka's acute awareness of the musicians he collaborated with. Anka is a highly sought-after songwriter because of her ability to adapt songs to the distinct qualities of other performers. She's a Lady, another notable hit written by Anka, was a signature song for Tom Jones in 1971. Jones's strong voice and captivating stage presence were a wonderful fit for the song's intense beat and audacious lyrics. One of Jones's greatest hits, She's a Lady, further demonstrated Anka's versatility as a songwriter by showcasing her ability to write pop ballads as well as more lively, rock-influenced songs. Pop and rock were not the only genres in which Anka wrote songs. He made significant contributions to the television industry as well. He wrote Johnny's Theme, the instrumental theme for Johnny Carson's Tonight Show in 1962. During Carson's 30-year run on the show, the theme became one of the most identifiable pieces of music in American television history. This accomplishment demonstrated Anka's capacity to compose music that could permeate various media, go beyond radio and albums, and become ingrained in society. What really distinguished Anka as a songwriter, in spite of his many hits, was his flexibility and readiness to change with the time. As musical preferences changed in the 1970s and 1980s, Anka kept writing and producing songs that appealed to both new and existing listeners. His ability to remain current in a field that is evolving quickly is evidence of his passion for his work and his in-depth knowledge of music. Anka co-wrote the popular song You're Having My Baby in 1974, and he and Odia Coates performed it as a duet. The song peaked at #1 on the Billboard Hot 100, demonstrating its commercial success. The song showed Anka's persistent ability to produce songs that could grab the public's attention despite some controversy surrounding its lyrics, which some attacked for being sexist. Anka's songwriting has been distinguished throughout his career by a fusion of literary insight, melody, and emotion. He has earned a permanent place in music history by continually creating songs that are both musically complex and approachable, whether he is writing for himself or others. The impact that Anka's songs have had on millions of people worldwide is just as significant as the quantity of the songs he has penned. His influence will endure for years to come, since his work continues to motivate upcoming artists and musicians. Relationship with Frank Sinatra. Based on respect, appreciation, and a love of music, Paul Anka's friendship with Frank Sinatra was one of the most important and defining relationships of his career. Over the course of several decades, Anka and Sinatra not only worked together on some of the most well-known songs of the 20th century, but they also shared intimate moments that demonstrated how close they were to one another. Their connection began in the late 1950s when Paul Anka was just starting to establish himself in the music business. Sinatra was already a well-known superstar, a part of the storied Rat Pack, and a cultural icon at the time. Even though their ages and professional backgrounds were very different, Sinatra's songs and stage persona had a big impact on Anka. Sinatra was the epitome of everything Anka wanted to be, a flawless entertainer with an indisputable charm and a voice that could enthrall crowds. Through similar contacts in the music industry, Anka and Sinatra first crossed paths in the late 1950s. The young Anka was profoundly affected by the experience. Sinatra, who was well known for his strong personality and discriminating musical taste, liked Anka and saw promise in the young singer-songwriter. In turn, Anka was both amazed by Sinatra's presence and resolved to gain his admiration. This encounter marked the start of a friendship that would deepen over time as a result of their encounters, both personally and professionally. When Anka penned the English lyrics to My Way, a song that would come to represent Sinatra in 1969, it was one of the most important turning points in their relationship. Anka first heard the French song Comme d'habitude while traveling in Paris, and she saw its potential right once. In a moment of inspiration, he created fresh lyrics that portrayed Sinatra's life and career after acquiring the song's rights. The song's lyrics, which were introspective, rebellious, and full of a sense of victory over life's obstacles, were a wonderful fit for Sinatra's persona. Famously, Anka wrote the song especially for Sinatra, encapsulating his friend's career path in show business and outlook on life. I Did It My Way became an anthem of freedom and self-determination that resonated with audiences all across the world, in addition to Sinatra. According to reports, Sinatra was struck by the song's ability to express his own emotions and experiences when Anka showed it to him. My Way, one of Sinatra's most famous songs and one that is closely linked to his legacy, was an immediate hit when it was recorded. My Way strengthened Anka and Sinatra's relationship. It was more than just a song, it was evidence of their friendship and Anka's profound comprehension of Sinatra's character as a performer and a person. My Way is so strongly associated with Sinatra that it is frequently regarded as his musical autobiography. Sinatra sang it in almost every concert until his retirement. Anka's reputation in the music business was further enhanced by the success of My Way, which demonstrated that he could compose not just for himself, but also for one of the finest voices in history. In addition to working together professionally, Anka and Sinatra had a lot of personal experiences together that demonstrated how close they were. Anka frequently talked about how Sinatra was like a mentor to him, giving him guidance on life in general as well as music. Anka, who was negotiating the challenges of celebrity at a young age, learned a lot from Sinatra's extravagant attitude and his professional experiences. Anka observed a more vulnerable side of Sinatra beneath his harsh appearance, a man who was passionate about his work and fiercely loyal to his friend. They were friends with their families as well. The two men spent time together outside of their work life, attending social gatherings, having dinners, and experiencing the camaraderie that comes with working in the same field when Anka was accepted into the Sinatra inner circle. Known for having a close-knit circle of pals, Sinatra considered Anka to be one of his most trusted confidants. Considering Sinatra's well-established reputation for maintaining a close-knit network of devoted friends, this was no small accomplishment. Anka stayed by Sinatra's side, providing friendship and support as he grew older and his health started to deteriorate. He frequently considered how Sinatra's impact on his own career, pointing out that the teachings he took away from Sinatra extended well beyond just music. Sinatra's ability to be loyal to himself despite hardship was something Anka respected, and he carried this trait into his own life and career. The way Anka carried on Sinatra's memory after his death in 1998 was one of the most moving parts of their friendship. He has honored Sinatra in a number of ways throughout the years, and Anka has frequently discussed the influence Sinatra had on his life and work. Anka would frequently sing My Way at concerts, dedicating it to Sinatra and narrating tales of their time spent together. More than any other song, this one represents the two musicians' long relation. Anka describes his relationship with Sinatra in his autobiography, My Way, offering insights into their friendship that only someone as close as he could provide. Both the highlights of their partnership and the private events that shaped their friendship are chronicled in the book. It demonstrates how important Sinatra was to Anka's life and how much of an impact he had on his career. In conclusion, Paul Anka and Frank Sinatra had a bond that went much beyond their work together. Their friendship was profound and long-lasting, leaving a lasting impression on both of their lives. Their relationship became one of the most illustrious friendships in the music business thanks to their respect for one another, common experiences, and classic songs like My Way. Anka's songwriting ability to encapsulate Sinatra's personality and Sinatra's acceptance of Anka as a friend and partner both attest to their special and enduring bond, challenges and struggles. Even though Paul Anka had a successful career, there were difficulties along the way. Anka had to deal with the demands of the music industry and the pressures of stardom as a young musician. His personal life suffered as a result of his many public appearances, recording and touring. The shifting nature of the music business in the 1960s and 1970s was one of Anka's greatest obstacles. Many of Anka's peers found it difficult to adjust to the new musical trends brought about by the British invasion and the advent of rock and roll. But by adapting his sound and style to the times, Anka was able to remain relevant. When his marriage to former model Anne de Zogeb started to fall apart in the 1970s, Anka was faced with yet another difficulty. The pair have 5 daughters together after being married in 1963. Their relationship was strained, nonetheless, by Anka's professional obligations and the stress of being in the spotlight. After 37 years of marriage, the couple were divorced in the year 2000. Anka stayed dedicated to his music and kept writing, recording, and performing. In spite of these obstacles, he was able to handle the highs and lows of both his personal and professional lives thanks to his tenacity and resolve. Latter life and career. Paul Anka's latter life and career demonstrate his extraordinary capacity to adjust and develop in a music industry that is always evolving while remaining loyal to his beginnings as a songwriter and performer. Anka kept up his presence in the music industry starting in the 1980s, broadening his repertoire, pursuing new opportunities, and establishing himself as one of the most enduring personalities in popular music. Many performers from Anka's era found it difficult to remain relevant in the 1980s as musical tastes switched toward rock, new wave, and eventually hip-hop. But because of his versatility as a songwriter, Anka was able to keep creating music that captivated both new listeners and his devoted fan base. By writing for a range of musicians in various genres, he broadened his production. For example, he and Michael Jackson co-wrote the popular single Love Never Felt So Good, which was first released in 1983. The song, which wasn't released at the time, was subsequently released posthumously in 2014 and became a worldwide smash, confirming Anka's continued significance in the business. Anka began concentrating more on live performances in the 1990s, especially in Las Vegas, where he established himself as a mainstay. His energetic performances and strong rapport with the crowd demonstrated his continued popularity as a live artist. Anka was able to keep his shows interesting and appealing to a broad spectrum of people by constantly reimagining his presentations and frequently fusing his extensive repertoire of songs with modern arrangement. His image as a great entertainer who can captivate audiences night after night was further highlighted by his residency in Las Vegas. He also experimented with new musical endeavors in his later career, which broadened his creative boundaries. Rock Swings, a compilation of modern rock and pop songs reinvented in a big band format, was his album published in 2005. The CD included Anka's covers of songs like Soundgarden's Black Hole Sun, Oasis' Wonderwall, and Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit. The project demonstrated Anka's ability to connect disparate musical styles and eras, and it was a commercial and critical triumph. Duets with contemporary musicians were included in the album's follow-up, Classic Songs My Way 2007, which further solidified Anka's standing as a creative and adaptable performer. Anka managed his personal life, which includes 5 marriages and 6 children, while continuing to write, produce, and perform songs throughout his later career. Even if they were occasionally turbulent, his relationships and family life had a significant role in his final years. Anka's 2013 autobiography, My Way, gives fans a closer look at his personal and professional lives and helps them understand the man behind the music. The book provides an honest account of his journey by exploring his marriages, fatherhood, relationship with Frank Sinatra, and experiences in the music business. His music was also heavily influenced by Anka's personal life, due in large part to the custody dispute over their son Ethan, his 2008 marriage to Anna Oberg, and their 2010 divorce were widely reported. In 2017, Anka finally gained sole custody of Ethan, which is uncommon in these situations and reflects his tenacity and dedication as a father. This stage of his life demonstrated his tenacity and capacity to face obstacles in his personal life with the same tenacity that he brought to his work. Anka kept performing all around the world in the 2010s and beyond, entertaining crowds with his extensive song list. Fans were given a nostalgic trip through the history of popular music through his concerts, which frequently featured anecdotes from his decades-long career. He continued to be adored for his presence in the entertainment business as well as his song. Making Memories, Anka's first original album in over 10 years, was released in 2020. Olivia Newton-John and Andrea Bocelli were among the many artists who collaborated on the album. It demonstrated Anka's ongoing significance and his capacity to engage with musicians of all ages. Critics praised Anka's ability to combine his vintage style with modern elements, and the album was well received. Paul Anka is still regarded as one of the most important figures in popular music as of 2024. In addition to writing hundreds of songs and selling over 100 million albums globally, he was inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame. His remarkable creativity and work ethic are demonstrated by his ability to reinvent himself, remain relevant throughout decades, and continue to produce music that appeals to people. Anka's charitable endeavors have left their effect on his later career. He has supported issues near and dear to his heart by leveraging his platform in a variety of humanitarian activity. Anka has further cemented his status as a humanitarian as well as a musician by using his fame to change the world, whether through benefit performances, donation, or awareness raising. Apart from his continuous musical career, Anka has embraced the digital era, reaching out to new fans through social media and streaming services. His continuing relevance and dedication to his art are demonstrated by his ability to adjust to the contemporary music landscape while retaining the timeless aspects that made him a star. In conclusion, Paul Anka's later life and career demonstrate his steadfast love of music, his capacity to grow as an artist, and his fortitude in the face of both personal and professional adversity. Anka continues to be an important and significant person in the industry even after decades of work, demonstrating that genuine talent and commitment are timeless. Future generations of musicians and fans will surely continue to be inspired by his legacy, which is based on timeless tunes and spectacular performances. Are you a fan of Paul Anka? Thank you for viewing, and please comment if you do.